Hello. I like what you're doing, Andrew.
Yeah, I do, Andrew. It's great.
Yeah. All right. All Reich, some might say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does he add an extra E on the end of his name, by the way?
I don't know how Sam Reich spells it.
Is it
Never
all
thought about
Reich?
it.
Is it
I
Reich?
think that's how it's. I think that's how you
That's
pronounce
how you
it.
say it as Sam Reich for sure.
Is that
I'll look
what?
it up real quick.
But I don't know the spelling of it. Hello, Texas Lobo 30. I don't know. I was just total guessing.
No, his is REIC.
That is Texas. Logo.
Yeah, it
That's,
is. It is the same. Kreider. Hello,
That's his
Kreider. Hi,
name.
Mackenzie. Hello, other
mother.
people that are
Hello, mother.
Hello, mother.
mother. Oh, God.
Oh my word.
I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
Is there
About-
music still playing on the background? Or
Yeah, I
is
hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because now I'm
Just
paranoid
very
that
quietly.
things I'm hearing in the background are like on my computer messing up. So I just wanted to make sure that they're not.
What happened? You're saying you're still messed up from last week? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Yeah.
Earlier, you were asking us if we could hear audio, and I was hearing audio playing in the background of my computer.
Yeah.
Were you listening earlier? Because if so, then this seems like it's an easy thing for you to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was, but the people listening now weren't listening earlier. So.
But just in case I wasn't, please repeat it all again.
yeah. No, I totally understand what you're saying, but just just for other people.
Andrew,
yeah.
bump up your volume like 5 dB for me.
Pump up the jam, pump it up.
Pump it up.
How's that? Is that better?
Have you seen the video of the guy with the bike pump and like strawberry jelly?
Nope.
What?
He has a bike
I
pump.
don't-
It's pushed
don't-
into the lid of some strawberry jelly, and he's just going pump up the jam.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. It's easy, very effective.
Here's what I want to
Very
know.
effective.
What were you
I kind
searching?
of like that one.
What were you searching that got you to this place?
This was something that found me. I didn't have
It's like,
to
yeah,
go
it feels like
looking,
everything
it
that I
found
see on
me.
TikTok is equally random. So
Like the algorithm knows what you're into, I guess.
Kreider, are you going to be doing the Andrew talk about it in the show, I'm sure, but are you planning on doing the Lorcana tournament?
oh, that sounds
Kreider's
exciting.
not. He doesn't really play.
Is it online, or I guess you're gonna wait and talk
No,
about
you
it?
have to- you have to
I always
see people.
fall for it.
It's not online. It's not online, Lauren, and it couldn't
IRL.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a Marvel Snap tournament, I would go do it. Hey, Kate, I would go. I have enough confidence that I wouldn't embarrass myself, but Lorcana, I don't.
When I was a little kid,
don't.
I went to a Pokemon tournament and played in that
How'd you
at
do?
the mall. I won, but like you could like try again if you lost. So like I played a few times and like just like because you could just kind of. It was a very loosey-goosey tournament where you just kind of met up and played Pokemon with other people. But you were like matched up and whoever won like got badges. And so like you could try again if you wanted to.
We will. I'll talk about this a little bit in my around the table, but then I will give a tease that Patrick had an incredible idea for how to get around the tournament rules. So
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Of the Lorcana thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well,
to hear
probably
about it.
really any tournament. The rules would apply to any tournament. So this is something that could be applied for anybody who's out there
Sure.
who plays any sort of
All
tournament.
right.
So,
Honestly,
not actual sports tournaments like
Okay.
trading
Card
card
games.
games.
We'll
or
talk about it
nerdy
in the
things,
episode,
yeah.
but it is
All right, cool.
incredibly smart, and I'm excited to talk about it some more.
Guys, are we ready to talk
Will you
about?
please tell me to throw this away? Please just.
Why?
I don't know why I still have this.
Why do you? Is it not work?
I had to sign. It's just trash. Did you? Like the trading catalogs you used to get. I don't know if that's still
Yeah.
their name, so I'll refrain from
Kind of.
using the full name. But you buy all the like stuff that's like 2 cents a piece or 5 cents a
Oh,
piece
sure,
or
yeah.
whatever. That's like the level quality of this. So I have like Baron Fig Squire. I have multiple Squires to my left that I can grab if I need a pin. This just needs
You
to go
should
in the
just throw
trash.
it away right now and pick up one of the other ones
So
you just mentioned.
did you see the iPhone commercial about deleting old photos? Did
Yeah.
anybody
No.
in chat see
Don't
that?
let me go.
That's how I feel with everything. That commercial is so good, by the way.
No, I did not see it, but I'll have to
We-
look it up.
We've only seen it 14 times today.
I
so funny.
also I don't watch anything on TV, so I wouldn't normally see it. But we were watching SNL from Saturday, and I was slow fast forwarding
Peacock.
through one of the commercial breaks. And I saw
Oh,
it.
okay. So you don't watch it on Peacock. You actually watch it on like YouTube Live.
Yeah, because I don't want
Or
the
YouTube
commercials
TV.
from Peacock. Yeah, exactly. So I was fast forwarding on YouTube TV, and I was slow fast forwarding during like the second commercial break, and it was the first commercial that played. And
So
it
would
was
that just be
awesome.
called forwarding?
Yeah, slow
Okay.
fast forwarding would just be forwarding for sure. But
Okay,
that's a
make sure
great
we're on the same
commercial.
page there.
That's a great commercial.
Becca loved it.
Check it
She
out.
loved it the first 40 times we saw it. And then and particularly can you guess why she loved it, Patrick? There's one particular part. It happens at the very end.
I've only seen the commercial one time, so I couldn't.
There's a
tell you.
there's a dachshund. There's a dachshund
Oh,
who's
okay,
laying there
okay,
and it sings the last little bit. So she loves that commercial, but she even got out puppied on that because she was just like, okay, I'm done with this commercial because it happens. It comes up every commercial break.
Oh, it's
when
one
you've
of
been
those like
watching
like
Modern
Hulu
Family.
is really bad about that.
Yes.
Like with playing the
All right.
same ad when you're watching the same show.
We're gonna
like,
watch
you watch
it right
more than one
now.
episode.
We're gonna watch it right now,
All right, I need to clean my glasses anyway.
so you can see it. Because I should have. Let's see. This is. Hold on. Let me
Is
think
the
about
audio
this.
patched in, Patrick? Here we go.
I have it in the wrong browser. I got to open it in my other browser so then I can pull audio in. Because otherwise it won't work. But hold on 1 second. We're gonna do this.
A little bit better.
I gotta change
you
the
guys hear
theater
that?
mode.
Yeah, like
Okay, here we
I mean,
go.
just barely.
It reminds me of the SNL bit. Well, just the song, but the. Do you remember the? Okay, never mind. Hold on. I'll show it first.
Yeah.
I don't have
play
to
it.
get there. All right, hold on. Let me make sure. Firefox. Where are we at? Firefox.
This is riveting entertainment, everybody.
I know. Like
I gotta see. I gotta see where this.
to watch
plays
a
at. 1
commercial.
second. I gotta see.
You fast forward through other commercials, but this one you're taking extra time for us to
yeah.
watch.
Okay, I have it all. I have it all good. You'll just have to tell me the volume's good. But let's go. All right, share. Window. This guy. Share. Let's bring it up, everybody. Looking exciting.
Here we go.
I gotta fix my audio. I gotta turn this down because I'm pretty sure this will deafen you if I play it at this volume. All right, if this is too loud or too quiet, let me know. But here we go.
Don't let me go. Don't let me go. No. Don't let me go. No, don't let me go. Don't let me go. Don't you ever let me go. Don't you ever let me go.
That's cute.
There you go.
That's such a great commercial.
That was perfect volume, though. For the
Thank
record.
you.
That was exactly what what we
Professional.
wanted.
Professional.
Okay. Are we ready to start?
Yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good. Let's
All right,
do
we're
it.
going to clap in 3. We're going to clap in 3 and 2. We're going to clap in
Stop.
3,
No,
2,
no, no,
1.
no.
When
Yeah.
I say we're going to clap.
I actually needed this last week because of the restart, so we got to be serious this time.
You're like, stop it. I'm done with this.
Here we
Game
go.
over.
3, 2, and 1, and
Crazy. All right.
that felt preemptive. That was just like,
Yeah, that was targeted. That was for
Oh.
sure targeted.
I've
yeah,
been sick all week, guys. Leave me
felt
alone.
aggressive. Here we go. Welcome to episode 550 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that knows it may be May, but there's no fools here. In this episode, we talk about Gogie architecture, Eat the Reich, and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
We gotta stop real quick. It's
Why?
Googie.
Googie?
Yes, like bougie, but Googie.
That's
number
so
2. It's
stoogey.
April.
That's so, what did I say?
You said it
Said
may
it's
be
May.
May.
Well, I wrote April, so I don't know.
I was definitely like, this is a convoluted April
Wait,
Fool's
guys,
joke.
April Fools. You guys seem so stupid now. I got you, bunch of dummies.
Googie.
Googie.
Yeah,
That's a stupid ass name. Okay.
I like saying
Googie.
it.
And I really did write April. I don't know why I said May. Here we go. We're going to clap in 3. And I'm just kidding. Welcome to episode 550 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that knows it may be April, but there's no fools here. In this episode, we talk about Googie architecture, Eat the Reich, and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'm Andrew Sale.
I'm Lauren Rubin.
I'm Patrick Hill.
So save those pranks for some other folks, because these geniuses are about to kick off another episode.
I think it's pronounced Reich.
Yeah.
You said eat the Reich.
Reich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Reich?
Reich. Yeah, Reich.
Okay, we said, okay.
But then we were talking about Sam Reich, which made it very confusing. So that
I
is
thought
totally
that
fair.
I thought that
That
this
is
was
totally
a show
fair.
that he did, and so I changed
No,
the
this
name
is a
of
game.
it based on
No,
what you guys
no.
were talking about.
No,
That's on
sorry.
you guys.
Sorry. That was just
That's
a
not on us.
confusing
you.
pronunciation moment. No, that's
Fully
fine.
on you guys. Because when you started talking about how to pronounce the word that I was typing, the last
I thought
word
you were
we
asking
ended on
how to
was
spell
Reich.
it before, and I didn't know that they were spelled the same. But that was a weird coincidence because they are pronounced differently.
Okay, do you want me to take that part over again? Eat the Reich.
I think it's close enough.
I'm gonna do it over again. Here we go.
All right.
In this episode, we talk about Googie architecture. Eat the
Nope.
Reich.
Googie. Like
Googie.
Googie. I'm about to lose my. Hang on,
Sorry.
just everyone. Hang on, just 1 second. Okay, get together, buddy. You can do this. Come on. Okay, we're back. Could you guys still hear me? Because otherwise, that joke didn't.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, good. That joke doesn't land if you can't hear me when I did that.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, come on. Let's get our. This isn't an April Fool's joke. This is just me not knowing how to read. Apparently.
No, for real, we did have a very confusing conversation about 10 seconds before you read this, so I get it.
We are 100% true on that. But I should be able to pronounce Googie at this point because we've said it enough times. In this episode, we talk about Googie architecture, Eat the Reich, and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'm Andrew Sale.
I'm Lauren Rubin.
I'm Patrick Hill.
So save those pranks for some other folks because these geniuses are about to kick off another episode. Third time's the charm.
You're almost
It was good.
overemphasizing goo in Googie at this point.
That's because I'm so annoyed by that word. It's a stupid
it's
word.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But we'll get
Yeah.
into it. You're okay. Once you find out what it is, you're gonna. Well,
Maybe we're
you
gonna like
already
it.
love it. Is what
Am
I'm
I
saying.
gonna? Never mind. Okay.
We didn't even know that we know
Nah,
what it
don't
is.
say that.
So we can't do that. Come on,
Give it
guys.
at least,
People's
Give it
parents
30
are here.
minutes, 45 minutes, or something. Yeah.
People's parents are here. We like to kick off every episode by going around the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Lauren, you seem to be wearing a large cat on your shirt, so what does the lady say from the Tiger King? What is it? Hey there, oh gosh.
Oh, cats and kittens.
Yeah. Why doesn't our resident cat and kitten kick us off?
Sure. Sorry. I have been sick all week, so I'm sorry if I cough a little bit. or
That's
I'm
great. Yeah,
sniffly.
good
I
to know.
appreciate
Sure.
Yeah.
you apologizing because
been
I'll
up and
edit.
down.
otherwise I'd
I'm
be
gonna
offended.
edit all this out of the episode, but sure.
Oh, well, okay. I
So
appreciate it.
that's
either
just for
way.
you. That's just for you streaming.
Just for you
audience.
guys listening, and then Patrick will later edit out all my coughing and sneezing. All right. So this week I got some stuff in from Kickstarter that I've been waiting for. I got a comic book that I've been waiting on called Tales of the Frog Knight. This is a really nice, high quality, like printing and everything. Like the cover is that nice, like kind of soft, like velvety paper. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
called, but like it
Yeah.
feels like nice and soft.
Feels like they
And-
used too much ink on it.
No, I mean not that. It
feels
literally
one
like
step-
feels
one
like that
step
nice
down
kind of
from
velvet
flocked.
feel.
One
yes,
step
yes,
down
one
from
step
flocked.
down from flocked. Yeah, and it's really cool. Like I just kind of stumbled on the artist on Instagram at one day. The main like creator's name Armand Bodnar, I think is how you pronounce it, and it just kind of like grabbed me, and I thought it was like very interesting, and like a lot of the story. doesn't have a ton of words because the main character, the Frog Knight, is like taking an oath of silence as part of his like knightly order that I'm kind of waiting to hear more about. But the story kind of kicks off where like he's having his adventures. He meets up with some other people who kind of end up doing the talking and kind of exposition of this world, and so you're kind of learning some stuff. And then by the end of this first issue, kind of gets into like what the larger story is going to be and kind of how it connects to something bigger. But it's really cool. Like I said, the artwork kind of just drew me in. It's kind of got like animal characters where like kind of like Mouse or something like that, where like they are like anthropomorphic.
Animals.
Yeah, or like Redwall is a good comparison. Something like that. But like the whole world is inhabited by different animals. It seems like there are different orders, maybe depending on what kind of animals and stuff. I'm not totally sure yet. They're kind of, giving us time to figure that stuff out in this series. But I think it's really cool. The style's really neat. It has a lot of like dark blacks and like bright colors, kind of like sort of Mike Mignola style, but a little softer, a lot cleaner. It's a really pretty style, I think. And they do a lot of really neat things with like the darkness and like blacks and shadows with like foreground and background that make for some really cool depth stuff that I'm definitely going to like remember for later. So definitely going to put links for this in the show notes. They're going to do more issues of this. This is just the first one. So I'll show a couple pages in here. They like, here's a great example of like how they use like blacks to kind of do like silhouettes and like foreground and background and like build depth. I just think it's like really,
it really
clever.
does feel like if you took a Mike Mignola image and then just in Illustrator click simplify.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
what it looks like.
yeah. They do these really cool like black and white drawings kind of as the like sort of inside cover for each chapter that are really cool. I'm very excited by this. Like, it's just really like a neat new book to read. I'm trying to find this one panel in particular that I liked. Just give me 1 second. I can't find it, so take too long. But yeah, sorry,
lost for all of us.
Taking too long, but yeah. So I got this one on Kickstarter. I got it at like a slightly higher tier, so I could get a custom illustration on the inside.
Oh, that's fun.
And then they sent some nice bookmark and some stickers that are done by other artists of the Frog Knight character, which are really cool. And then I also got a little, oops, I almost dropped it, enamel pin of the Frog Knight, and I love this pin. It's just super cute. I really like it. And then this little like blue and white shield is kind of like his like orders symbol or whatever. So I feel like in later books, like you could probably like, they did one of just the shield too, so you could like maybe have collected like all the different ones as time goes on. But really cool book. I super like it. Can I ask you
a question about those accessories first? Mm-hmm. The stickers are done by other artists.
Yes. Yeah. They're different styles.
Do you like that? Do you like that you paid for this thing because of an art style, and then part of the gifting that they gave you was stuff that may not even fit your aesthetic?
Well, this was just a bonus though. Like, I didn't pay for this. It was just like added for free. So I think that's like a neat, like just kind of a cool idea to like, if other people made fan art or if they hired them to do it. I'm not totally sure which, but I like the idea that like, it's kind of like a different twist on it. And like I said, it was a total freebie. So I think that's neat.
How many stickers do you think you have right now that aren't yours?
I'm going to take a guess before she says. I'm going to take a guess that she has 2,200 stickers.
This entire bin is all stickers?
Oh, that's not that many. I've got way more than that.
Actually.
So is this entire bag?
That's better. That's better.
I've got so many.
I know.
And then I probably have more like scattered throughout the house.
I have about 1,500.
It's like my main chunk.
And I assumed you'd have more than me, but I have more than you, I think.
I know. I
just have them really nicely organized, okay?
There's
a lot of stickers in there.
Ago, but like
I have mine in like a 4-tier like little drawer, and then I have one in a whole other drawer. So like they're very organized. I have about 1,500.
Almost consider stickers to be like trash at this point.
Yeah, that's what he said the other day. Yeah, he hates stickers. Remember, he only wants lanyards.
It's so the only swag Patrick wants is lanyards.
Okay, let's say you're going to a convention, and let's say you're not allowed to bring stickers or pins. What do you bring, Lauren?
Well, for me, prints would be the other thing, because that's like maybe the thing I have the other most of.
As a giveaway. As like a giveaway to someone.
Oh, button pins is like, does that count, or is that still pins?
That's a pin. It has pin in the name of it.
The thing is, like, those are the two cheapest options to do as a giveaway. So, like, once you kind of go out of stickers and button pins, like, you are getting a very expensive giveaway.
Cookies, or is that like against? Oh,
I think that would be a
koozies.
thing
I
where
thought you
like
said cookies.
I'm sure you can bring cookies, like they're not going to stop you, but like if someone got sick, you would have a huge problem.
Well, that was from the other guy's cookies. I mean, you can't know every cookie that person ate.
'Cause,
No,
like-
McKenzie, you were saying koozies. I see now.
Oh, koozies, yeah. Like I get those, but like I wouldn't do that at a convention for myself because it's just like a higher cost. Maybe like coasters, I guess, would be another thing that's cheap. But
Back in my day, I would give a hearty handshake because nothing
Yes.
says you mean business more than a hearty handshake.
Okay.
So
There's got to be some like old computer peripherals that are cheap at this point, like floppy drives. Maybe we just go buy a bunch of.
I don't think they're cheap. It's
I don't
like
think
what we were
anyone
talking
wants
about
that. No one
with
would
Will.
keep that.
Listen, with Will a few weeks ago when we were talking with Will, like these old technologies have now become like hipster level things, and so they've put a bougie price tag on these things.
This is what I could imagine Will doing. Go and buy, in essence, this like is that also considered e-waste? I don't know, but like this like tech waste, and then get like a little stencil and just spray paint your logo on it, and then give out pieces of it, and then you're kind of recycling. And you're like leaving an impression, and it's like something maybe
A floppy disk maybe would be good, not a drive. Like a
yeah,
drive
I
would
also
maybe
just
be a
like
little
this
too-
seems. I mean, like, yes, you could do this. I personally probably wouldn't.
Yeah, but if someone handed you a floppy disk with their logo on
We'd be
it,
talking about it on the show. That's
we'd
for
be
sure.
talking about it on the show. That's what I'm like. I don't think
like-
you would just throw it away.
I do think I would just throw it away.
No,
Lauren, you-
I can't read it. What am I
you
going to
would
do
play
with
the
it?
little slide. The
No,
little, like,
it's essentially
slide on it.
It's essentially
So fun.
it's essentially the same thing as a bookmark or a business card or a
Yeah.
sticker. It's a way of promoting their art. So if like they spray painted
I
a
get what you
logo
guys
or
are
a
saying.
design
I
on
just
it.
like I don't think I would hang on to it personally.
Did you not
If someone
sit
drew
and, like,
on there,
play
would
with
you-
the little slide on it? Nobody
Maybe.
did that.
Yeah, I play with a slide on it.
Not really, because
Wait.
I was always worried that would damage it.
Are you
Like,
talking about the hard floppy or the floppy floppy?
I'm talking about
think
the
he meant
hard
the hard
floppy.
floppy.
Oh, I'm talking about a floppy
You want
floppy.
the bigger one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
you
I
want
did-
something that makes
Those
an
are
impression.
those are
That is
like
bizarre.
bookmarky.
Yeah, I think that's more.
You could do like a mini
Pogs is a
disc.
great idea.
Oh, Pogs,
Pogs
is
is
funny.
a good
Yeah,
one. There have to be people.
I have a
who do
few
it.
Pogs floating around my house somewhere. Like there's a
Trading
handful left.
cards. Make a
Yeah.
series of trading cards and then have those things be the thing. That's
I've
pretty
seen people kind of do their business card similar to a trading card. You know, like where they have more than one version,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I think
and
Adam
I do
Rourke
like
did-
that.
I think Adam Rourke was it Adam Rourke who did the playing cards? He did a set of
He
playing
did, he
cards.
did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He didn't use the right paper for it, so they wouldn't hold up very well. They looked great. It was just the wrong paper for it. It wasn't actual like card.
No, this was an actual card, but you only got one.
No,
Each one was a different.
It was thicker. So an actual playing
oh
card.
yeah, it was thicker than a playing card. You're right. Yes, you're
Exactly.
right.
And if it had gotten wet, it would have like broken down instead of being like the thin double layer with glue, like actual playing card. Okay, here's what you do. This is like power move. You take other people's stickers, you just cut them with like a pog maker, and then you stencil your logo on them and then re-give them to other people.
There's so much extra
This
work
is
that
like,
goes
yeah, I
in.
was like,
So stupid. It's so stupid.
I also like keep a lot, like, or I use a lot of stickers, honestly.
What do you when you say you use stickers?
Yeah.
Like you put them on things.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
like
you
what else?
apply
You,
them.
you stick them. That's what
Yeah,
they
you
do.
apply them.
They are stickers.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe if I dropped something and it was just out of reach, but I could get a sticker on it to like retrieve it.
Now this is
Maybe.
$1 million
Like a
idea
sticky
for
hand kind of thing.
this is $1 million
Like,
idea for Patrick because I have watched him struggle. Sometimes to no success when something falls just out
What's-
of arm's
what's
reach
the
while he's
Oh,
sitting
I
in his
have
arms.
too, actually.
Painting of the two fingers.
Patrick's like,
I should go do anything to avoid getting
and
up.
then you'll just hear him go, Mackenzie.
We need to get you one of those like claw hand things, like
Sure.
those little grabbers.
Now,
on a
if your
stick,
logo was
yeah.
on that, Patrick
There
would
you go,
Logo was
there
on
you
a
go.
grabber, and you gave those out.
I think like the coolest like gift like that someone's given me was my friend works for a
If you
like
say floppy
woodworking.
disk, I swear.
No, she works for a wood cutting or like laser cutting studio,
Mhm.
and she gave me. Here, I'm just gonna grab
You
it.
you talked about it on the show and showed it a few weeks ago, probably.
Yeah, I know I've shown this before because it's awesome, but it's like my logo as a little like maze game. That
Oh,
she
not
did.
that.
And-
Yeah, that's way cool.
Yeah,
You have shown
and-
it. Those were early
Yeah.
days of you being on the show.
That's good.
Yeah, I've had this for a long time because I think it's one of the coolest things anyone's given me as like a
That
swag to
couldn't be
promote their
that
business.
expensive
Like,
to produce, though, right? That
Not
couldn't be that
expensive, but
bad.
it is time consuming.
yeah,
Sure.
she did have to glue all the pieces in, but
And just
like
materials
I do a
alone,
lot of
that's
business
probably-
with her.
That's probably $10 to $15 of materials.
Do you want to see
and then
The
her
materials were
swag?
free because it was just scraps left over from other people's projects.
I understand.
So yeah.
What I'm saying is though, like if you were to make
Yeah.
something like that,
Oh yeah.
that's about
easily.
$10 to $15 worth of materials plus your time investment, which is probably a couple of hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
But I
best
think it's
swag
super cool.
I've ever gotten from a convention.
Is a
This
lanyard.
right here. And Andrew's there.
That's not swag. You took his
A
you took-
creator
Display.
gave it to
Yeah.
me for
Yes,
free.
but that
That's
was
swag.
a table decoration,
I
not
love it.
swag. That is a very different thing.
I
That's
guess
like
it's not swag at all
that's
because
what-
isn't swag like stuff we all get?
That's
like
what I'm saying.
that is stuff
It-
you
it's
got.
By definition,
I
it
got
is
it.
not swag. And then on top of that, it's like saying you walk into someone's booth and take their pull-up banner and go, check out this swag I got. It's not swag.
If they offer it to you, it's swag.
If they offer it to you, it's a gift. That's
Yes.
what it is. You got a really lovely
But
gift
then,
at a
like,
convention.
how many floppy disks do I have to give away for them to be considered swag?
At least 80. I think that's in the
Yeah.
definition. I think it's stuff at least
We
80
all
people
get.
Okay, whatever.
The A in swag stands for at least 80.
Yeah.
So
I really hoped you were just going to say 80.
80.
80.
Oh man.
That is definitely how you spell 80.
I do feel like we may have derailed a bit your
That's okay.
conversation. So let's
I
get back
only
on
have
track.
one more quick thing to add on to the end, and that's just a quick like reminder / announcement that our good buddy Andrew Kolb has a new book out for pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Wonderland, the kind of continuation of his RPG series from Neverland and Oz, is now available for pre-order on all the cool places you might order RPG books. Like whether or not you want to go to your local store or Amazon, whatever, you can
Oh, okay.
pre-order it.
I didn't know where to do it, so that's good to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Patrick doesn't have a local bookstore.
Patrick
what
doesn't
point-
like books.
At what point can I just go ahead and read what is really happening in Everland?
When we agree to
when
never
we agree
go
to stop
back, I
having
think.
fun.
I want to
have-
go back and
I have
shank
both
the
books
queen
here.
again.
If you ever want to cross-reference anything, I own both books. They're right over here.
Okay.
But yeah, Wonderland looks great. I'm very excited to check that out. But yeah, so that'll be it for me this week.
Cool.
Patrick, why don't you go?
Easy. This week, this might have happened last week, but I just started listening this week, so there you go. The whole list of songs for Eurovision is out. So the next Eurovision competition happens between May 7th and May 11th. So they'll do a couple of semifinals. They'll do like the family show and the main rehearsal, and then they'll do the final show. So it's several days of stuff. Last year, everything was shown on Peacock, I believe. And so this year, I'm sure it'll be a similar thing where you'll be able to go watch the whole broadcast. But if you just go on Spotify, you look up like Eurovision 24, you'll find the set list. If you've never listened to any of the Eurovision music, you're absolutely uncultured, and you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot. So it's a whole lot of fun. So that's the first thing you should be doing. The
That is very
second thing
exciting,
is,
actually.
The second thing is this week is the Valero Open happening in San Antonio. And
You are
this
like
will
turning
be-
into a real golf person.
This will be the first PGA Tour event that I've ever gone to, and I'm very excited for it. So unfortunately, I say unfortunately, there's a couple people that won't be there, but most of the people I want to see will be there. And maybe the number one is Joel Dahman. So if you haven't watched any of, Mackenzie said you have no idea. If you haven't watched any of the Netflix show, or heard anything about it, just look up Joel Dahman, read a bit about his story. I find him very interesting. But he'll be here in San Antonio. So, but we'll get to see tons of good people. I'm very excited.
I will say, Lauren, just to paint a bit of a more understandable picture of what's going on. He's like the guy who owns all the band merch, but never goes and sees them in a show. He's never played golf, so he's just
still
a full fanboy. He plays games on his phone, and he likes to talk about golf and likes to watch golf. He's even going to pro events now, but he has still yet to swing a club.
I would argue the majority of sports fans have never played the sport they're rooting for.
I don't
know if that's true.
I don't think that's true at all.
That's
I think
absolutely
not
true.
professionally played it. Like obviously they're not professional baseball players, but I think most people in the United States played baseball like in school,
right? Most
like,
people play
or basketball
catch,
or soccer,
or they play basketball or soccer, or they're throwing a football around. Absolutely,
tennis,
I think
like I've played.
The people that watch rugby in the U.S. have played rugby. Or that watch cricket.
That's less likely.
You think the
that is less
majority
likely.
of U.S. fans of cricket have actually played cricket?
I think that's probably not true. But I don't think that percentage is huge of U.S. cricket fans.
Not. You're not in the majority right now.
Could you say that most kids have thrown a ball? Yes, but the majority of people that watch hockey in the U.S. have not played hockey. The majority of people, I would even say the majority of people who watch football haven't played football. So, like, baseball is the one that you could argue, or maybe soccer, because the amount of
football is universal. Football is universal. Soccer is universal. Baseball is universal. No. Golf is also universal, and basketball. Yeah.
No.
Rugby is not, because rugby is not a global sport in the same way.
I was trying to explain.
Not a national sport.
I was trying to explain Gucci by saying bougie, but you're being very bougie by just assuming that like everyone can afford to even play all of these sports.
I was like that. I will say golf is an expensive game, but you should give it a try if you want.
I will give it a try, but you just say that as though it's like some huge shock, and I'm just saying the majority of sports fans in this country.
You can't say a majority.
Have not. Absolutely,
it's not a majority.
100%, it's a majority. Until you give me data that says otherwise, it's majority.
Okay, I will find data for you, and I will gladly present it next week on the show and show you that what you're saying is absolute
Andrew's category
nonsense.
is prove Patrick wrong.
Next week is going to be
in this
data,
essay.
Data
I will
and analysis. That's what my category is going to be next week, and it's going to be sports is my category.
All right, that's it for me. By the way,
box moments. That's it. Just golf.
I talked about Eurovision.
Oh yeah,
too.
Eurovision. I'm actually. I wanted to chime in. I'm going to see Dottie Freyer, like one of the Eurovision contestants this weekend. I'm very excited.
I had initially shared that with Patrick, thinking that we might go to that, but that was many months ago.
I was like, come to Houston. I'm going on Friday.
Yeah. I know you're gonna love it. I will say I watched.
Oh, it's gonna be super fun.
I watched a couple of his live performances because there's some on YouTube you can pick up, and the live performance didn't 100% strike me as like a must see. So it's fine. I don't know.
He's a DJ, right?
I don't know. No, he's not a DJ.
Okay. Yeah.
He sings
I don't know.
and plays a bunch of instruments.
I didn't know.
He actually, when he tours, so a lot of the music I've seen him do, he's like crafting everything by himself. But when he tours, he does take a band with him. So he has like a 4-piece he plays with. It's not that any of this stuff's. I mean, the stuff is good. Like some people. I think the venue is really going to determine how good the show is.
Yeah, and it's like a smaller venue, so I think that'll be fine.
I think it's going to be perfect then. So the shows that I've watched is him like playing these big like outdoor festivals, and I just don't think his music and like the band and everything fit that like festival.
No, it's
vibe.
very like weird and quirky. Like that's kind of the fun of it. Yeah, so I'm very excited for it.
So more intimate venue. I think it's going to be great. So.
I'll give you an update next week.
Okay, I'll pick it up. I have a couple things. One, we got this puzzle for Easter for us to do as a family, which is super fun. It's a Disney 100. It almost has.
Oh, that is cool.
It's got 8. It's an 8-panel puzzle with 8 Disney characters on it. It looks kind of like Eric Tan's posters. If you're familiar with Eric Tan, he's a Disney artist. But you've got Mickey and then Moana and Woody and Minnie Mouse, Snow White, Tiana, Simba, and Elsa. And there's just these, it's an 8-panel thing, and each one is like essentially a monotone with black and white.
It's cool, like Art Deco kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
They almost
so I'm
look
excited.
like tarot cards or something like that. They look
do-
really
yeah.
cool.
Well, now Becca's not going to put it together, but cool.
I
It'll
just said it
summon the
reminds me of
spirits.
that because it's
gonna
like
summon the
really
spirits.
intricate little designs. It has
Yeah,
all
it
the
looks like it would
symbols
be
and
like
stuff.
playing cards or something like that. It definitely
yeah.
has that vibe to it. I wouldn't be surprised if if they licensed this artwork to do bicycle cards for it, honestly, because that would make a lot of sense. So I got that, and then Patrick, before the episode officially started, we were talking about the Lorcana set championships that are coming up in the next month and a half, all across the globe. And this is the first time that they're doing a set championship that's like formal, that has to be like, it's a sanctioned event. It's not like, so it sounds like it's a little bit more formal than what you were doing with your Pokemon thing.
Yes.
But one of the tournaments that I'm going to play in is you play best of 3 and you play 5 Swiss rounds, which I need to learn what Swiss rounds mean because this is the first time I'm ever doing anything like this. But the prize in this is the top 4 players get the first ever promotional enchanted card, which is this Stitch.
Oh,
If you see
cool.
how, yeah. So you can only get this particular card if you are a top 4 player in these championships. And the shops that do this had to go through an application process, and they had to be approved by Lorcana, by Ravensburger, to be an official, to do one of these official things. The shop that I'm doing it at is late April, and it is 32 people, and the top 4 get it. So as Patrick and I were talking about it, I said, hey, there's a 1 in 8 chance of me being able to walk out with one of these cards. And then Patrick had an incredible idea. Patrick, why don't you tell the people what your idea was?
Okay, here's a thought. Because again, what did you say the percentage was?
It was 1 in 8.
1 in 8, right?
Yep.
So the more people we add, better percentage. And
The more people we add on our team.
on our team.
Yeah.
So what you do is you just buy other people's entry, because if you buy other people's entry, it guarantees that you're going to be better than them, and it's going to up your percent. It keeps someone else from playing, and it's going to up your percentage of getting it. And the thing is, those cards are going to be worth a lot of money. I mean, there are individual cards,
hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not.
There are cards
into
that
the
sell
thousands.
for in the thousands.
Yeah.
And so you have to imagine this is going to be a decently valuable card. So just buy 10 people's spots. Easy.
and even if one of them wins for whatever reason, you bought their entry, so you get
might
the
end up with
card.
multiple cards. Who knows? Like maybe they're a savant at it, and then like you end up doing better. But the thing is, you need to be the first, because at some point this will be like discouraged or something.
Yes.
So you got to get in and you got to take advantage of the rules today.
Before there is a
That's
rule.
terrible.
Yeah,
Before there is a rule. Like, this is the time to do it.
we need to stack. I need to go in with 15 other people so that I own half the playing field. Like that's what. But what's gonna suck is if all 16 of us lose and I don't get one of these cards.
Yeah.
That's gonna suck.
I looked up a Swiss round. Do you want me to tell you what it is real quick?
Yeah, I would love to hear what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a small chocolate cake with a.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. No. So
This
basically,
is a British Bake Off version.
you have single elimination and you have Swiss round. So single elimination is like you do a match. It's like bracketed. You do a match, you lose, you're out, or you go to like a loser's bracket and then you fall out. In the case of a Swiss round, you get points for win, lose, draw. And then in the next round, they pair you with someone who got this like similar points as you. So that way it like is adjusting the difficulty as like trying to match difficulty as you go. Wow. But that allows, instead of just knocking people out, it allows you to have a large group of people play through a tournament more quickly and determine who like the winner.
So Swiss round with five Swiss rounds, and then they have a cut to the top 8, and then those top 8 play. And then I think it's elimination.
So you're guaranteed in that case to play 5 rounds.
Yes.
And in that case, it doesn't really matter how many people show up. You would still be able to do 5 rounds and then do your cut.
Yeah, even if I'm
as
playing the same
opposed to,
person
like,
twice. Yeah.
If you do a bracketed system, the more people that show up, the longer that it takes to get through. So
And if we have 16 people, then it only stands to benefit me if we do it.
Oh yeah.
Because then it's
Absolutely.
like a 1 in 2 shot, right? Like that's how that would work.
I think
No, it's a 2 to 1 shot. It goes in my favor at that point.
you would need to at least recruit a couple. I think you got to recruit a couple.
I tried recruiting you.
I don't look like an idiot. I don't want to
Yeah,
lose.
I need people who don't
How
care
mu-
if they win or not.
Does it cost a certain amount of money to
It's
play in
26
this, or
Yeah, so it depends on where you play. Different shops have different costs. The shop that I'm going to, the cost is $27, but it guarantees you a couple of packs to open, and so you're
Oh,
essentially paying
cool.
for the product, and then you're playing in the tournament. So it's
yeah?
so
I mean,
on
like
top
they
of all
had to
that,
organize all of it, so I
Yeah.
don't think even that's like unreasonable. Honestly,
it's
to
not,
pay
it's not
$26.
unreasonable at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
No. It's if you think you're paying for an entertainment of an afternoon.
Yeah, like you're gonna be there all day,
Right.
whether
Yeah.
like having fun, probably regardless. Like,
and you're getting opportunities to open product, which means you could open a valuable card. You could get an enchanted. You know what I mean?
Okay, this would be
that's
this would
funny.
be pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
If you show up with 10 people and you all have matching outfits.
And
M of one,
and
yeah.
all of theirs just say fodder. It says fodder 1, fodder
And
2.
yours can say like mother.
Yeah.
Make all of their shirts red, please.
mother and fodder.
Yeah.
I like that. That's actually not a bad idea. So anyway, we're gonna play in that. There's another shop that's gonna host one too the week after. So hopefully I'll have 2 shots at getting one of these cards. I really, really want one of these cards. Everyone's gonna want one, and they're gonna be really hard to find, really hard to get because you have to actually play and win, or pay. Price. You can't stumble across one of these cards, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
open one. You've got to get it from someone who won it, and they're not going to sell it to you cheap. So
You got to win it or get it from someone who won it. Yeah.
And the top 2 people who win get a Stitch playmat. It's specific for the tournament. And
that's
the
cool.
top 1 person, there is the Stitch playmat, but it also says champion across the top. So
Yeah.
like there's swag
Someone
that you
just
can
takes
walk
a
with.
marker and just.
Although we've learned it's not called swag anymore because only a couple people get it.
Yeah. When does this take place?
You just move
my-
that goalpost.
Mine is I'll move it as it pertains to how helpful it is to my stories.
Yeah, exactly.
The first one that I'm doing is the 20th, and then I think the next one is the 28th or something like
Oh,
Oh, of
nice,
April?
nice.
of April. Yeah,
Are they all
I-
at the same store, or is it like I'm curious, like how many stores are participating? Is it like a lot, or like just a few?
I think there's a handful of. It depends. Well, so San Antonio is a bigger city, right? It's a bigger
Yeah.
region. So there's like 2 that I know of in San Antonio, and then there's one that I know of in Austin, and those are the only ones that I know of right now. There
Yeah.
are a bunch of them around the country.
Yeah.
But they're not every store is going to have. Not everyone would have applied, and not everyone who applied was granted access to it. So they had to be like, I'm assuming it has something to do with the amount of distribution that those stores do of Lorcana. That would make sense to me. Like if it's not a heavily trafficked area, or they don't do a ton of Lorcana business, they're not gonna grant them access to it. So anyway.
Yeah.
I
It sounds
genuinely-
really fun. I'm excited to hear what it'll be like.
Yeah,
I
me too.
wasn't going to participate because of my image I like to maintain for myself.
Yeah.
I will actually be out of town on the 20th.
Oh, that worked out nicely for you. Then.
So that actually was.
You're like,
You
oh, I
really-
have a
Aw,
real
man, I
excuse.
really wanted
you really
to.
backed into that working out for you, didn't you?
Oh,
I was gonna say
Um,
you should like film it or something. That would be cool.
In the
I've never been to like a
meantime,
card tournament like that. It'd be cool.
I feel like, well, maybe they will let you record it. I don't know. But JP's the opposite. JP is like for the not set championship, but for like the big Lorcana challenge events that are happening around the country. And there's 8 of those. JP he can't make it because of a trip that he's going to be on, and he has asked me to bring that he will pay the entry for someone to go and play on
And
his
play
behalf.
his deck. Yeah.
because because you get a special card just for making it through the first 3 rounds.
Oh.
And that's a separate thing we'll talk about later. But anyway, so we've got Patrick who's trying everything to get away
To
from
avoid
it. And we've
it,
got
yeah.
JP who's willing to pay for someone to go sit in for him because he can't make it.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
That's cool.
I'm going to talk about 2 things really fast, 2 shows that I watched, and I'm not going to go into them heavily, but things that should be on your radar because I will want to talk about them in the next week or 2. The first one is Palm Royale.
I just started watching this today, actually.
Okay. So we're not going to talk much about it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is a show worth watching. It's Kristen
very
Wiig,
funny.
it's Laura Dern, it's Carol Burnett, and it's Allison Janney. And
Ricky Martin's in it.
Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
And it is an absolutely fully stylized. It's Mad Men era, but it's in Palm Springs, Florida.
It reminds me a lot of the movie Down with Love, if you've ever seen that with Ewan McGregor.
haven't
like
seen that one.
it's so stylish the way the show is done. Like it just drips with style.
So I don't want to even go into what it is. I think you should just watch it because what I thought it was is not what it ended up being.
I agree.
And so, Patrick, I think specifically you and Mackenzie would enjoy this show. So go.
It's really funny.
At least watch the first episode of it. So then maybe next week we can talk about it at more length. The other one is a show that I don't think everyone should watch, but I do think it should be on everybody's radar. And you guys may have already heard about it. You may have even already watched some of it.
What to expect when you're expecting.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Not for
Chicken
everybody.
Soup for the Soul. No, the show called Quiet on Set.
Oh,
And
yes. I've
Quiet
heard of
on
it,
Set
yeah.
is a docu-series about Nickelodeon in the 90s and the really what boils down to the pedophilia and the toxic work environment that several of the directors and producers and writers of these kind of hit all of our childhood shows. And the show is very triggering. I will say that big trigger warning on that. They deal with some really heavy stuff, and it's I think there's 4 episodes in right now. I've watched 3 of them, but it's a crazy show. I do think it's worth watching. I have some abuse in my past, some specifically some like child sexual abuse in my past, and so this hits a lot of things that make it hard to watch. But at the same time, it was good for me to be able to like point to Becca and say, how he's describing it as how I feel. And so it put language and put voice to something that people might not have a like understanding of. And so for me, I would say as a person who's dealt with that, I would give it a thumbs up for you to watch. Obviously you have to kind of judge that for yourself. But it's a really well done show that just exposes a lot of things that maybe not a lot of people realize about. So Quiet on Set, is that on Max?
Is it all out? Because isn't it like 4 parts or 5 parts or something like that?
There's 4 parts that are out right now. I think there's 1 more part to it.
Okay.
But yeah. So I don't remember what streaming service it's on. If you're in the chat over here, throw up what streaming service it's on. I actually don't remember. I think it's on Max, but I could be wrong. But Palm Royale is on Apple TV Plus, so you should absolutely go take a look at that because that's a fun show. It is on HBO Max. So. Okay, that's going to be it for me, which means we're going to head on over to our master categories. For whatever reason, in my head, when you did that, I expected to hear like live audio of the.
It didn't happen.
Like that music, yeah. I do like play that in my head every week.
Whenever you hear that, whenever we switch over.
Yes.
Every week we talk about the dice we rolled the week before. Those dice give us our categories. We pick our topics based on those categories. I can't wait to hear about Googie architecture, Patrick. It's been on my mind for months, and now I finally get to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've
So
always
I'm
wanted
gonna.
to know.
We'll start with the why, how this came up. So there's a guy named George Motz, and this is not a story about George Motz, but George Motz is a very...
This is just a tribute.
He's a very well-regarded burger historian of sorts. And so if you've watched any number of videos, especially videos, and this can be shows, documentaries, YouTube, whatever, that pertains to the burger, and especially the burger as an art form, you've probably seen George Motz before. You probably know what his face looks like. Andrew, I guarantee you've watched content with George Motz in it. Now, George opened up a restaurant called Hamburger America in New York. I believe New York, just this past year. And this is kind of the culmination of all of his hamburger knowledge. It's his tribute to the burger. It's treating the burger as the star, etc. And it features unique burgers from around the country, like the Onion Burger or the Chester or things like that. But again, this is not about George. This is about diners. And so Hamburger America is that in that classic diner style, not completely, but in things like the open kitchen and the bar seating, the globe light fixtures, all those things that just scream diner. And so the question is, where does that come from? Why? What is that diner aesthetic? Why is that diner aesthetic? Okay, so that's our setup for the diner. So now we're gonna go back to, I don't know, 20s, 30s, this era. So we have a time where the automobile is starting to become more popular. We're coming off of obviously rail travel is a big thing, and so you have these dining cars on railways. Well, these dining cars become stationary and they become a place that someone can stop. But also with the rise of the automobile, you have people doing 40 miles an hour down the road and you have to get their attention. And so now we start introducing like the building is the signage, that it is the way to get someone to stop and to join you. Well, then as we progress a bit further, so these buildings also need to support as many cars coming in as possible. And so you get a lot of buildings that they're like the central focus and the cars kind of park around. So it's this kind of like circular shape. Well, then as the decades go on, now we start looking towards space, right? This like next or frontier that we're reaching towards. And this is kind of this outpouring of the we can do anything attitude and whatever. And so then you start seeing these aspects of space getting pulled into the design as well. And this can be in signage and this can be in the building. So we start seeing like a lot of like metal and glass and like these like starbursts and these circular designs start turning into these like spaceship circular designs. And this is what leads us into this Googie style. And it's called Googie specifically because of a place called Googie. It's considered one of the best symbols of this architecture.
I definitely thought it was some kind of joke on like bougie, but not, because this is kind of like, like the diner kind of thing. That's not like that.
There is actually a building that's the Googie building,
That's
which
hilarious.
is where it comes from. But I'm going to real quick show you a couple of examples. And as soon as I show this to you, you'll know this style. This will make sense to you. So this is norms. So these like this swept up roof, this really big sign, these kind of unique shapes. This is Googie. So we're seeing a car wash with these. I don't know
this
how
looks
you
like every place that Mel McGowan would go to eat.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Speaking of
By
Milwaukee,
the way,
there's a lot of places like this.
there is a lot of this south side of Austin. There's a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
in San Antonio as well.
Del Taco
This-
still looks like
Oh,
this.
Starburst patterns, lights,
Yeah.
bright
Neon.
colors. This
Yeah.
is all Googie as well.
man, that's an old theater. Look at it, it's showing World War Z and Iron Man 3.
White House Down and Heat.
I love it. This picture was taken while I was in high school. Cool. Again, these like circular shapes, but also these kind of like unique shapes as well. All of this is forms of Googie, and so this art style kind of or this architectural style continued to rise up through maybe the 60s, and at that point it begins to die off, and now it just feels like a relic of that. Yes, Andrew.
The big thing with it is, besides this one that you're showing right now, although this is still true a little bit, the big theme in Googie architecture would be asymmetry.
A lot of asymmetry. So except for where you see a lot of circles used, outside of that, yes, lots of.
But the circles are probably, there's likely multiple circles and they're likely different sizes and outweighed, like one big one and then a small one and a medium one or something like that.
And again, things that are going to grab your attention, things that you can't miss, that have this kind of space feel to them. But when I say space, I'm not talking about like modern astronaut. I'm talking about like space as you would imagine if you were to watch the Jetsons, like
mid-century modern, everything
a
mid-century modern. Yeah,
and it's a bit of 2D, like almost like 2D cartoon meets our real world. It's a bit of that as well.
Very
So
Hanna-Barbera.
that is that Googie aesthetic. So when you see a diner and you see the metal facade and the sloped roof and you see the bright sign, all of that is that Googie style. And then when you go in and you see the open kitchen and you see the stools up against the bar and you see the globe lights, that is all of the dining car aesthetic. And those things combined are what give us what we consider the diner style today. And so now you know a little bit more about why we have the designer aesthetic, where it's from. And if you want to see more of it, figure out how to spell Googie and you can see more of it.
If Jedi's not here tonight, and I know that because he'd be blowing up the chat.
Yeah.
This is totally his style. This is totally that Shag, the artist Shag. Mid-century modern style.
Kind of retro,
I've seen photos of him and his wife he will literally pilgrimage to places just to tour buildings and houses that are this style. And so
absolutely,
he's going to be sad he missed this conversation live, but that's why you got to be here, folks.
And then finally, in case you're curious,
cool.
This is George Mutz. I know you've seen him before, but this is the hamburger guy. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, I don't know that I see him.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I know this person.
I do see Trump down there with it.
Yeah, with a burger.
No, so if you've First We Feast, they have like a hamburger show they also do on that channel.
I don't watch First We Feast.
Okay, it doesn't matter. But
Not
anyway,
familiar.
Hamburger America, shout out Classic Diner. If you've got one near you, go visit it this week. Have some
Bob's
some
Big Boy, a classic Bob's Big Boy would fall in.
And I can feel smart and be like, did you guys know this was Googie style architecture?
It just feels nice to say. You
I do like it
for knowing that it is called Googie.
It is. I do think for the trouble I gave you earlier about your whole golf situation, we won't dive into it again. I do need to give credit where credit is due. You said that I was hating on this word Googie early, and you said that I was going to totally change my mind. You were right. I do change my mind. I love this style. Never knew that that's what it was called. Yeah, I always just referred to it as mid-century modern, and it's like a a subset of that, which is which is cool. So now I learned something today.
And that has been Architecture with Patrick. Lauren, you're talking about Sam the Third Reich.
Sam's Third Reich. Yep, great. We just lost 2 more listeners.
Oh no! This is actually a really cool game. So
we go from anti-symmetry to go ahead.
This is not what you think it is, so give me a chance to explain. All right, so I'm going to...
That's so good.
I know that I changed my category from last week. I am claiming birthday rights and just doing whatever I want because this game is really cool and I really, really wanted to talk about it. Let me do this. Okay, so the game that I played is called Eat the Reich, and yes, it is like the Third Reich because the whole premise of this game is the year is 1943, Europe is in flames, you are a unit of crack vampire commandos with a single objective, drink all of Adolf Hitler's blood. Was that what you thought it was going to be? No.
Okay. I don't know that it's not what I thought it was going to be fair.
So you are definitely very like, you're killing all the bad Nazis. The kind of idea of this game, in my opinion, is like playing out a Quentin Tarantino game as kind of like a D&D-ish style game. It's very narrative kind of RPG version, but it's a very like simplified version of how D&D works. It's only played with D6s. It only has 6 or 7 stats. It's just kind of a very like simple version, and like characters are pre-made so you can jump straight into the story and just start playing, because kind of the point of the game is like the DM will like set up the situation that your characters are kind of dropped into. So for example, when we played, we were like airdropped in these like special coffins like into the middle of Paris, and like they like crash land, you get up, regenerate, and then just like we had to like start in a garage and like get a car and get out of there. And so like from there, you are basically allowed to make up whatever you want. You have these like pre-made characters, like I mentioned, and like they have different abilities and weapons and like kind of actions that they can take. And like your job is to combine as many of those as you can into like a cool idea like that makes sense in like this little story to like be able to like add them together and like get extra dice. So for every like item you add, you get to add 1d6. For every like if you do certain things with the item, like you like I remember the character I had, like if you use like you had a jar of ghosts, and if the ghosts like pass through a wall, you get an extra point, things like that. So there, it's like very silly and fun, but like it's not like the more kind of abilities you combine, you get higher rolls. And when you get like successes on your rolls, you're kind of either like allowed to take out enemies or objectives. And like once you cross out so many of those, you can kind of progress to the next stage. And it is like ridiculously fun. Like we were like laughing so hard and just like making this stuff up. And like you really like trade back and forth with the other players a lot and like use each other. And like we just had like the best time playing this game. Like I want to show some of the artwork too, because it's like really, really,
Please.
really cool.
Because if you didn't, I was going to.
Because I'm imagining something very.
There's no way, Patrick, you don't. The second you see this, there's no way you think of any world in which Lauren wouldn't love this game.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Is it sharing? Okay. There we go.
No,
There we go.
it is now.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah, that looks like.
So like,
for
yeah,
sure.
this is like the cover. This was kind of that like premise that I was
She's a
talking about.
luchador? Is that who the main character is?
Yes, she's a,
No.
she's a Jewish.
And then I'm gonna.
Jewish.
These are
luchador.
like some of the like character artwork and stuff, and I love the way that they did these like character sheets and everything, like the colors and like the art style is just like super cool.
So
This
it's
is not
it
what I
is-
was picturing at all. This is not at
What
all.
were
What I was
okay? So pause 1 second, Lauren. What
Yeah.
were you picturing, Patrick?
Well, initially, it was reminding me of that movie that you and I saw at. Did we see it at Fantastic Fest?
We did. It was the premiere that we saw, and I can't remember what
And
it
I'm
was called. But it was like
blanking
the
on the name.
super soldiers of the third. Like it was during
Yes.
World War II, and
so
it
like
was yeah.
that's what I was imagining in my head initially, and then when she was talking about the artwork, or like the more she talked about the mechanics of the game, then I switched and I was imagining something almost kind of like cute and like little
No.
bubble figures.
Like
and
there was
stuff.
another game she talked about a couple months ago where it was like this demon thing, and it was all like
Cult
cartoony.
of the Lamb. Yeah.
Cult of the Lamb.
Yes, right, Overlord. I was imagining Overlord while she was.
Yes.
setting
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Overlord is actually like a good comparison to like how you kind of play the game. Like it's meant to be really like violent and excessive and like insane. Like we were definitely like mowing down people in our car.
Yeah.
It's just like it was really, really, really like a fun game. Like in no other circumstances do you ever get to say the sentence like "Get in, losers, we're gonna go kill Hitler." Like it was just such a like ridiculously funny game to play, and like it's very easy to learn. Like I feel like explaining the dice system sounds really complicated, but once you actually start playing it, it's very easy to learn. Like we were all understood it exactly how to do this after we did one first kind of practice round basically, and after that it was just like, all right, got this. Especially like I think playing D&D sets you up easily to know like, all right,
Yeah.
like it's basically an extended version of how do you do this, you know, like whenever
Yeah.
you're gonna like get the killing blow, because like everything is like you're gonna succeed at least partially. So like how do you want to do this is kind of like how this game is really played, and man, it is just so much fun, so silly. The premise is like ridiculous, so like the powers and stuff you get are really cool. Like this
Can
is
I
the
real quick
guy.
go back up to that
Yeah.
character?
Mhm.
Just for anybody that is not watching this on this predominantly audio-based show.
Oh yeah, I should
It
describe
looks
this
like
better.
a Wes Anderson character, like from the Royal Tenenbaums, went on a color run and found an M1 Grand somewhere.
That's actually a
That is so
very
funny.
good way of describing this.
But like drawn like by like Mike Mignola a little
It's
bit, or
drawn by
maybe
Mike-
like yeah,
Drawn
like
by
but
Mike Magnolia, but it's a girl wearing a beret. Looks like she's in maybe like
she's like a
Girl
revolutionary type of girl. Like
smoking
yeah,
a cigarette, but just
With-
like
yeah.
patchy, bright color all over her.
It's Wes. Oh no! Here's what it is. It's Wes Anderson meets what's our Tarantino.
I really think it's Quentin Tarantino. Like that's very much like the vibe of this. Like I'll go through some of the other characters too. Like this was the one that I played. He's like a necromancer kind of guy, so you get lots of cool like ghost powers and stuff.
That is literally the host of the Grand Budapest Hotel. Just so we're clear, that is exactly what he looks like. It's the
No.
bellhop from the Grand Budapest Hotel who's got some crazy
Here's Willem
pops up on
Dafoe.
his chest. Yeah, that's just Willem Dafoe as a photo.
Yeah.
Like that's just him.
This is like a cowboy guy. This is kind of like a druid. You can like shapeshift and stuff. And then they had like a straight up like man bat type of guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the artwork's really cool. Like they do all the blood in like hot pink, so it looks like
Mhm.
really just like unique, like very cool. I think that they did like such a good job with this game. Like it's really really fun. And like I'll kind of like hang on one of these pages so you can see some of the abilities and like how the equipment and stuff works. And like as you like level up, you kind of gain those advances and stuff. And then like it's if you drink blood, you can get rid of your injuries or like regain your powers and stuff like that. But man, like honestly just one of the most fun games I've played in a long time. And like I said, like everybody was able to pick this up super quickly and like just play along, especially because the characters are like pre-made and it's just kind of like acting out the best, like silliest action movie you and your friends can think of.
Yeah, that's cool. It looks just like
Yeah.
a slightly darker version of City of Mist, which we've talked about a couple of times on this show. And I do really appreciate the fully illustrated character sheets. Like those are.
Yeah.
That's a piece that I feel like we miss a little bit when we were just playing straight D&D where you're building your own character. I do like having the visual like this in front.
Yeah. And you kind of
and-
like, I definitely like when it was like we were coming up with stuff in the middle of the game, like we would just like, I was looking at the picture and I was like, oh, there's runes. I'm going to use that in one of the descriptions or something. Like just kind of gives you ideas because they're really like rich illustrations.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
And you can actually still back this game on Kickstarter. My friend who ran it for us had already backed it, so he had this like a PDF preview and everything. But you can buy the book. You can still get this if you want to. There's like extras, like physical copies, physical like editions and maps and things like that you can get with it if it's interesting to you. And this book goes on and on. I just don't want to show too much of it because it's still like a preview mode for the game and everything, but really cool. They have like full scenarios, like many different, like if people are playing for a second time, there's like different places you can kind of start the narrative, and so it's not repetitive and things like that. So really just like excited to maybe play this game again and or play a different character or do something different because like it was just ridiculously fun, like I said.
Okay.
I don't know that you mentioned this, but the artist behind all this stuff's name is Will Kirkby. I just looked it up, and
Thank you.
go check them out if you even if you don't want to play this game because they are incredibly talented and super.
Yeah, really really cool stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be mine. Eat the Reich.
All right, well, we'll go from eating the Reich to eating some marshmallows because I went and watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire this past week, and I'm going to give you a quick review of the film. Not going to dive into any spoilers, so you can stick around. I'm not going to give anything away. But I am going to talk about a few things about the film. So the film, if you're unaware, essentially picks up where the last one left off, which is Ghostbusters Afterlife, which if you don't know is actually the third in a trilogy if you essentially wipe away all of the female Ghostbusters. Where Ghostbusters Afterlife picked up is the third installment of the original 1984 and 1989 Ghostbusters franchise. Afterlife picks that up, and then this picks up from there. You would know this just by watching any of the trailers. They are back in, well, even just the last film, the ends by the Ecto-1 driving back into New York City. So this one does take place in New York City in the original firehouse, so the Ghostbusters firehouse, and you do see the return of all the characters from Afterlife. So you've got all the kids. You got the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard. Can't remember how you pronounce it.
Could be.
That's it.
You've got Logan Kim, who plays Podcast. You've got McKenna Grace, who plays Phoebe, and then you've got Celeste O'Connor, who plays Lucky. So you've got the kids, and they're back. But then you also have now Paul Rudd and Callie Spangler, who were the adult figures in this last one. They are now living together, and they're all under this thing, and they are officially Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters are back. They go out and they bust ghosts, and you get the return of lots of things that you would know from the original series.
Hey, question. Why do they bust ghosts?
Because busting makes them feel good.
Okay. That makes sense.
That line comes up in this movie.
I've seen it in every trailer.
And Paul Rudd just goes, busting makes me feel good. But what this film does is it's a fan service. It is a fan service. So there is what you get from the commercials, and that's all I'll talk about is what's in the commercials. What you get from the commercials is that there's this artifact that's found that brings about an evil spirit that is able to kill by fear itself, and it is like the icy chill of fear and death, and everything that it touches becomes icy, and sharp shards of ice come up and spear things in the road, and it freezes over water and freezes over things, and people get fully frozen to death as they die of fear, essentially. I'm going to give you a cast of people that you know, and then I'm going to give you a couple of people who you may have missed, and then I'll end by the person who I think, Patrick, will be the reason why you would actually go see this movie. So you've got, like I said, Paul Rudd, you've got Carrie Coon, but then you again also have Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, you've got Ernie Hudson, who looks incredible, by the way, for being like 75. This dude is jacked.
Wasn't
I don't know
there just
how.
like a magazine where he had his shirt off? He looks great.
Maybe he looks insanely good. But then you also have Annie Potts. So she returns as Janine Melnitz, but she
And wasn't there a magazine recently where she had her shirt off?
It was Working Girl magazine. So it was this movie has all of the original Ghostbusters, obviously minus Harold Ramis. But you see all the return of all these people, but who you might not have known are in this film. But if you watch the trailer, you might not have realized that Patton Oswalt is in this film, as well as Kumail Nanjiani is in this film. They both play some pretty fun roles in this. But then, Patrick, you may have missed that James Acaster plays a pretty significant role in this film.
Really?
And as soon as I saw him, I was like, well, Patrick should have been here to watch this movie. So that's the cast. And there's a lot of good things to say about the film. But I will say, fan service aside, there is a lot of fan service, a lot of returns of things that you see, a lot of little Easter eggs that you would see that you'd pick up on if you remember the original films. And I'm not going to tell you what those are because they're fun to watch. But what I will say is, outside of that, the story felt a little stale. The story felt a little, and I'm not intending to be like punny here, but it felt cold. Like it didn't grab me. It didn't pull me in. It felt like it was a film that was fan servicey, and it was just kind of like more like fan surfacey. We'll say it that way.
Sure. I do have a question
appreciate
about that because I had seen this from a couple places, and I'm curious. From my perspective, as someone that I've never rewatched any Ghostbusters films. I've maybe not even seen them all. Would it feel stale to me, or is it primarily going to feel stale to someone that like deeply loves the franchise? I think it would feel stale to you because you would miss some of the significance of some of the actors who show up. I didn't mention everybody, by the way. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There are some cameos. You won't pick up on the significance of some of the people who they run into in this film and who make an appearance. And you won't pick up on some of the nuance of some of the fun things that are in the background, or even just like verbal or audio cues that are being pulled from the original film. So because you're going to miss out on that, you're going to think the movie is very, like, the story is just kind of blah.
Sure.
It doesn't feel like there's anything new with the story. And so I think in that way, I think you would actually like the film less.
Interesting.
Because you're not even getting the Easter eggs as kind of your little endorphin.
You're not getting the fan service because you're not really a fan. So as a movie for a movie's merit, like the story of it, I think for you, I think it would just be a little throwaway. And I could be wrong. Maybe you would actually appreciate it, but it felt like a little bit like it's been done. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same critique that people gave of, what's the first, the rise of The Force Awakens, when like episode
just kind of
7?
repeated so much
Episode
of
7,
6.
like
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, this is
I mean,
just
sorry,
a
of 4. I mean,
it's
sorry.
they're playing into their own trope. Like that's kind of what it felt like. This felt like it was its own
But
trope.
I'm saying if you don't know the trope, you don't know what's playing into it.
I guess maybe, but
Just
I think
out of-
you are maybe different than an average moviegoer.
Yeah, okay. fair
You do kind of know the beats of these things, and so for you, I do think it would feel played out, even if you aren't deeply ingrained in the Ghostbuster lore.
but the nostalgia, it still feels good.
The nostalgia made it feel good. So I would say as I was preparing, I was talking to Becca about this, and she was asking what I was going to rate it. My rating is a 7. And I love Ghostbusters, and it's only a 7 because I love Ghostbusters. If I didn't love Ghostbusters, then I probably would have rated it like a 5.
Wow.
Like it just was a little boring. It felt kind of like the stakes didn't feel real. And the older I get, the more I care about stakes in films for whatever reason. So
Just out of curiosity, did you like the last Ghostbusters one? I forgot what their like tag
Afterlife?
on that was. Yeah, thank you.
I did,
Yeah.
and we actually rewatched it.
I did like
Yeah.
like I liked everything in that movie except for the like baby marshmallows or what when they have the like
you're gonna
the
hate
little-
this movie because there's a ton of those.
I know. It just felt like the most pandering thing ever of like, sell toys now. And I hated it.
I loved it. I loved the Stay Puft marshmallow, like the little mini mellows.
I think they're cute, but I just didn't like how it worked in the movie. It just felt, it didn't
I
work
don't
for
think
me.
you'll like
Yeah.
this movie if you felt like that was pandering. I think this whole movie is
I liked the
pandering
rest
movie.
of that movie though. I will be like I liked
there was
most
some
of
very
it, but that did
moving-
not work. Yeah.
So like there was a lot of moving I say moving elements as if it's like there was a lot of heart in Afterlife because the whole film was kind of centered around
That
Egon
family.
Spengler
Yeah,
and it, I mean by now these aren't spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, that's kind of on you. But like the scene of Egon kind of coming back and them being able to say goodbye, and that was actual like on screen when they actually saw that afterwards. They were able to kind of say, you know, the original Ghostbusters were able to say goodbye to their friend. Like there was a lot of moving elements to that story.
Yeah.
And outside of that, there was some fun fan service. This one doesn't have the heart behind it, in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's some stories that just
crazy.
a little bit throwaway.
Maybe wait till this one comes on HBO or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I would go. Depends on who you are, but Patrick, I do think you would like the James Acaster stuff.
I would, even if you told me it was a 4 out of 10, if you said James Acaster is a big part of it, I would go see it.
Yeah, he plays probably a bigger role than Bill Murray does.
Listen, I remember watching Wonka, and there are 2 people in Wonka from Taskmaster, and I got so unreasonably excited to see 2 Taskmaster people. But
It's
yeah,
really funny because I had the exact same reaction. I was like, "They're from Taskmaster." Like,
I leaned over to Cooper on my right, and I leaned over to Becca on my left, and said, "That's the guy from Taskmaster."
So but no, I do love James Acaster stuff. So I would, and for anybody listening, I know he's from more than Taskmaster. But anyway, I would totally see it for that.
I will say this for those of you who grew up watching the real Ghostbusters, the animated show. There's a couple of little nods for you, and those of you who grow up with some of the toys from the early '90s. There's some fun service for you right at the very beginning of the movie, so don't miss the intro. So, okay, that's gonna be it for me, which I think means that's it for this show, unless I'm missing something. No,
Can I
I'm
tell you
not.
something real quick? I hate from the. So, Lauren, you made the comment that the merchandising annoys you. Like, if you know that this character was introduced.
oh yeah.
No, just generally speaking, if you're like watching a movie and there's something that feels shoehorned in only because it's going to translate well to a toy, like that stands out as that's annoying. For me, if I'm watching a movie and I want the video game, and at some point someone says, "Hurry, you only have 3 minutes to get there before such and such explodes," that means there's going to be a timed mission and it's going to be a pain in the butt to do, and that drives me crazy. I like start dreading playing the video game from that moment.
It also
That is
means
so
that it's
funny.
going to be a Universal Studios ride. That's what every Universal Studios ride begins with and ends with the guy swinging in and going like, "Oh man, we just made it! Thanks so much, guys. Well, we're back to the station."
Every single one is like a disaster somewhere. That's so funny.
But here's the thing: in the planning, no ride starts that way. Just after all the budget cuts they make, that's where every ride ends up.
It's the value engineered version
of every idea.
Yeah, we could tell stories, and we're not allowed to, but we could tell stories that we've heard from some of the Universal creative team where the story began and the attraction began sounds like the most incredible thing that's ever existed, and then where it ends is hop on board. We got to save the whatever the hell. And it becomes just this diluted version of something that nobody actually enjoys.
I hate timed levels in video games. Continue, Andrew.
You can find show notes and links to all the stuff that we talked about over in our website. It's inside of it. So just go to it, though, first. It's to be on our website, which is mof1.network. While you're there, you can find show notes, links, as well as all sorts of an archive with 549 other episodes plus some. So there's lots because we've been doing this for a decade. I wish I had like a echo. Why don't I have an echo ability? That's silly. I should have that on my
Probably
soundboard.
just have to like assign it to the channel or something. But.
Maybe I just have to cycle through what's available. But you can do all that on mof1.network. You can also find our Slack with the little hashtag logo on our site to join the conversation day in and day out. You can also find us over at twitch.tv/mof1 podcast. We are there every week, and you can be a part of this live so that you can tune in and you can join the conversation and correct us when we say things wrong and give us answers when we're searching for them. So it's a much more interactive way of doing it. We would love to have you on there. You can subscribe for free if you have a Prime subscription, an Amazon Prime subscription. They give you one every
can subscribe
week.
For free.
They give you one that you can use on whatever once a month, and you can toss it over to us. It's so helpful. Is there anything else? We're at MF1 Podcast on all the platforms. I'm at Andrew Sarah with 3s instead of E's. Lauren, what are you?
I am not Coolco.
And Patrick?
And I am Coolco.
And he is Coolco. Let's roll our dice to find out what we're talking about next week, and then we're going to button things up.
Cool.
By the way,
I did mine already. I got art.
Te-tu turtot.
Te-tu
turtot.
Te-tu
turtot. Appreciate it.
Te-tu turtot.
Te-tu turtot. I rolled a 20.
Lovely.
It feels so special because you only get one roll and you have to wait a week to do it. So whenever you
Yeah.
get 20, it just feels so
If only you could
special.
roll those when we're actually playing our game.
This past time,
You got
I
a chance
couldn't roll
Wednesday.
above 10 to save my life. It was crazy.
Or to save our lives.
Yeah, I think
anyone's life.
Yeah.
Oh
I was
my
also
gosh.
rolling badly.
I rolled a 6.
Okay, 6 toys.
Hey, okay, I've got some toys we can talk about.
And I got
Have you heard
arcs.
about the Ghostbuster toys? And so this is a present. It's a 2 present.
I can't even see what that was. It was so tiny.
It's a 2.
Oh, it's your dice. Sorry, I thought it was like a little pin or something. Got it.
Do you think it was a toy?
Yeah, I couldn't. You just flat. It was so fast and it was so tiny. I couldn't tell.
There
what
we
it
go.
was.
Flashed it and it was so tiny. It was just.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Clip that for me. Thanks.
Oh, no.
We're gonna hop out of this episode. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Patrick.
I've got insecurity problems.
Adios.
Bye. All right, I'm gonna throw this up. What if I threw up just then?
I'm gonna throw this up.
It's very literal.
And then you go, like you had something you've been
Impressive.
holding on to.
Have you seen when David Blaine does the whole he swallows a frog and it and then he brings it back out?
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
He'll do it with a fish, and he'll throw it back up into a fish bowl.
That fish has got.
How many fish died in the experimentation process of this trick?
He swallows.
I don't know, but I'll find it out next. I'll find it out for next week on my data and analysis.
Proving Patrick wrong.
I just think you're underestimating how many people there are. But it's fine.
I don't
It's
think
fine.
that's not what we're talking about. I know
Kreider.
how many people there are.
Kreider, have you seen Ghostbusters yet?
Yeah, he was very quiet during this discussion.
I would have expected you had already gone and
It looks like Kate did. There was a
Yeah.
lot going on with the story, but the nods to the original film were great. Yeah, that was the biggest.
By the way, Andrew, check your text messages. I think I have found you a Lorcana partner for the 20th.
Oh, I see. It says that his high school reunion is that night.
But he said if it's earlier in the day, he could maybe still go.
Okay. All right.
So you just need to respond with times. But that he did Magic the Gathering tournaments for a while.
Yeah.
So
But-
you'd be a good guy.
He would be, except that he would want to win. And
Yeah.
he would keep the prize.
He won't share.
Yeah, that doesn't help me. He'll probably beat me.
Sure. Yeah, he's really good.
I know. Like I feel like you've missed your own point of what we were trying to accomplish here. I'm trying to
Bring
walk
in the
away with
ringers.
one of these cards.
I don't know that he. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I can tell you that every time I talk to him about Lorcana, he goes, "How valuable is that card?" And he'll only engage in conversation based
interested.
on the rarity and value of the card.
That's funny.
It kind of seems like he probably would want this card.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's
hard
worth
to
a
say.
conversation. It's worth. a
I
conversation.
think you should. I think you should go with him. He will help you be a better tournament player. So like if y'all prep
That's true.
together,
That's true.
it's only y'all could end up with
We're
two.
gonna do drills for the next 4 weeks.
Y'all
We're
could end
gonna
up
do
with
drills.
two. So
That's true, because if it doesn't matter if he beats me, and I'm in 4th place, I still get one.
yeah,
Are you really in this for the card? You don't care about the playmats as much?
absolutely.
The playmats are great, and I would love one, but the card is where it's at.
Waste
coveted
of
item.
absolute time.
The card is where it's at. Like if I can get top 4, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because that
Okay,
card's that's
next week-
gonna be a tasty card.
Next week, 3 rounds, Swiss style Lorcana. We're gonna start putting reps together as a group.
Training.
You're all gonna have to watch Patrick and I play. I will say,
Yeah.
because of how Lorcana plays, you actually can play. Like I've played with Jonathan Green over
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've played before because you play your
That's
own
cool.
cards. You play your own. You play your own table. So you could totally do it that way, and no one would ever want to watch it. But maybe we'll just start streaming all of our games, our prep games, and people can give me advice.
Yeah, maybe you get some tips or cool. I don't know. That would be interesting. Yeah. Or maybe watching it back can help you, like, like other athletes.
I zigged when I should have zagged.
Are there many people?
Yeah, there's many people.
Can y'all hear that?
What?
You talking?
Yeah.
When you say, "Can you hear that?"
And you
it's
just
always
cut
hard
yourself
to know what
off,
you-
yeah.
It's hard to know what you mean. We hear music. We hear you talking.
I'm back. It's okay. It's okay. I was seeing if there are many people that actually play Lorcana that are like streaming Lorcana, but I guess you really can't very well since there's not a digital version of it.
There is a digital version of it.
Oh.
It's called Pixelborn.
Oh, so I can play with other people doing Pixelborn?
You can. Yep.
And it's all the correct rules, right?
It's all the correct rules, and you get to build your own deck. So you can build an optimal deck, although it doesn't necessarily translate to real world rules if you're not playing with a deck that you actually can own.
Perfect. There's only 12 people currently streaming Pixelborn.
So you're
But-
saying there's a market for it, but we could be in the top
Untapped.
part of that market.
Yeah.
There's only 64 people watching it right now.
Total of all 12.
From all 12.
So maybe there's not quite a market for it.
The
might
demand
have a
is high.
But now
There's
that I know
dozens
this,
of them.
And so are the 60 people watching.
but now that I know this exists, I can
Sorry.
actually start playing it. This is better for me. I thought I could only play like physically.
No, you can. Yeah, you can play digitally. And I do think that there's rumor that they're going to build their own digital platform, and it'll end up being like Pokemon. Like when you buy a deck of Pokemon cards, there's a QR code. You scan that QR code, and every card that's in that booster pack is now in your digital set, and then you can play digitally with people.
Wait, what do you
all
mean
around the
that
world.
they're gonna But they built Pixelborn, right?
No, it's third party. It supports all the right rules, and they
I
recognize
see.
it. They recognize it in their Discord channel. Like it's a recognizable thing. They won't do any like actual sanctioned tournaments with it because people can build whatever deck they want to build. but they do recognize it and they'll answer questions about it and they'll help the people who are developing Pixelborn make sure that the rules and stuff are correct. But I think that's only a matter of time until they build their own platform. I mean, it's Disney. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
like they're going to want to bring anything that could, they're going to want to bring everything under the one roof or in-house.
Okay.
Makes sense
Good
to
to
me.
know.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm really curious how it's going to turn out. You'll have to tell us all about it.
Maybe I'll just GoPro it. I'll strap a GoPro to my face and we'll just stream the whole thing.
Perfect.
And then I'll have an
Either
earpiece and
in
people
spirit,
can coach
yeah.
me through. They can see my hand and they can coach me through it. All right, everybody. We're going to hop out of this one, though. It's been a fun one. We will catch you. Happy April Fools Day, everybody.
Catch you
Yeah.
on the flippity flip. Whatever it says. Oh man, the music's getting louder. That's bad. I have to do too many buttons. That just looks so good. Okay, bye everybody. See y'all. Ciao.